This is the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Dr. Meleeka has a background as a clinical psychologist, actress, director, model, and human rights activist. The Dr. Meleeka Clary Show will help move you towards bettering the quality of your life with positive psychology. So please welcome your host, Dr. Meleeka Clary.
Welcome, everyone, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network, where we're coming live, people, on the Bold and Brave TV network. Oh, I'm so glad you guys came and joined me. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week, and I'm just glad that God gave me another day to be able to do just what I love, talking to people, trying to change something in this world. So before I get going with my discussion today, I have an amazing individual. And I have to say something about this individual. I've known him all his life. How do you know somebody his life? Well, don't tell nobody. He's my little cousin, but he's taller than me. So I have to say that. Get that out. I have to keep it real, people. But besides that, he is a wonderful person. And I have watched him bloom. And when I say bloom, he is an actor. Oh my goodness, a model, an author. He is a family man too. And he has done so many things. And when I say the movies he's been into, he has been in Detroit. He's been in I Feel Pretty. And hello, he's been in Three Corners of Deception movie. Oh yeah, he played my attorney. And he did just a wonderful job. I couldn't ask for such a better person. But I have to say, let me introduce you to Veals. I welcome him to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Hey!
Hey, how you doing?
Did you hear me?
I heard you. I heard you. I heard you.
Oh, shoot. I was hoping you wouldn't hear that. Well, just keep it real. I used to babysit you, little tot. So I have to put it out there. I had to put it out there. You know what? Then you know that my show is about clinical psychology, it's about positive psychology, it's about mental illness. But I know so many things: law, acting, the entertainment industry, and everything. And I know you've been into the entertainment industry for a while now. But you know what? What I'm having a problem with, everybody knows about someone. And what I've just explained about people, about you, but that's my research about you. That's what I know about you. But here's the big question. I have to ask you, who do you identify yourself as? Because besides all the research and what's on Google and everything about you and what you do, I've noticed sometimes people just have the disconnect of who they really are. And I like to know, who do you identify yourself as?
Well, that's a great question. I would say I identify myself as the ultimate adapter, but with the family orientation with it. Like, I've experienced so much in my life that I've just been able to adapt to it. So I took
Hmm.
bits and pieces of my growing up and it just became me. But I've always kept that sense of family and loyalty and wanting to be together along with my journey. So
Hmm.
that's what I would say. For me, I'm just the ultimate, I'm like a chameleon. When you
Okay.
experience so much of different aspects of life, it just becomes a part of you. It's no longer you becoming that or that. It's just you. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you said family. Now, when you say family, and then I go into beliefs, I'm Christian, and I believe in God, but I don't know what other people believe in. And what's your belief system? Because when things go on and something's not right, do you have an outlet? I mean, what happens there?
Well, my grandmother raised me down south, and she chose to raise me as a free spirit, meaning she didn't want to get into all the Islamic, Christianity, or anything. She just let me be a child, and these are the rules and regulations. This is what we're going to do every day, and that's how I was raised, very free and open-minded. But she did instill that there is a higher power, so that I do believe in.
Okay, so what kind of challenges that you go against? Let's say if you had a bad day, something's going on with you. What do you do? I mean, because this is the problem here. A lot of people are having issues. and they don't have an outlet, and they don't know what they're doing. And by the time you know it, somebody committed suicide. And it's creeped into cross cultures. So it really doesn't
Right.
matter who you are, and it doesn't matter
Right.
what's your status. So
Right.
what do you do when you get in a moment and it's a challenging moment for you? Because there's many people are watching and they're saying, well, okay, so if you don't, when you have an issue, what do you do? I mean, how do you
Well,
survive that?
the thing about it is,
Hmm.
first you have to identify you have a purpose. So you choose what your purpose is. You don't. I
Hmm.
mean, you might not know the end all fate, but somewhere along the line, you choose a purpose, whether it's career oriented or just anything. You could just pose as somebody's helper, whatever purpose you choose. Now, when you come to a problem, when you feeling stuck, you always revert back to that purpose, and you say, okay, like for me, for instance,
Hmm.
as an actor and model, when things aren't working out, I always resort back to, okay, this is my purpose. Get it together, figure out a solution. Life is about problems and solution. If this isn't working, find a different solution. I don't let it distract me from what I chose as my purpose, which is modeling and acting. So if something hits me up on the head, like, oh, I can't, work out today, I'll just go back. Okay, this is your purpose. So eat that cheat meal and get back on the grind. Like it's just when you have these challenges, you always have to revert back to what is your purpose. And if that purpose is there, you just have to figure out the next solution. I mean, one problem is variable solutions to it. They may teach you that it's just one solution, but like they say, what's the old saying? There's more than one way to skin a cat, things like that.
Hmm.
So it's that's a difficult question, but like I said, you just go back to your purpose, Meleeka, and
Hmm.
take one step at a time. Sometimes you can't just long jump it. Sometimes you got to tiptoe it. So
Well, you know what? On that note, and I love it because I have more to ask you. On that note, we are going to take a brief commercial with Veal. We will be right back on the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, fellas. Don't go nowhere, people. Just come back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Before we left, we was talking to Ben Veal, and he was getting ready to tell us about, different challenges. And when we left, Ben, you was talking about challenges. You got to deal with it. What I want to know is what kind of challenge that kind of broke your spirit, that you just knew that, what am I going to do? Because you have many people out there that been through something and they're saying to themselves, how do you continue? I feel like life is beating me down and I don't know how to get back up and get to the race or whatever is their goal. Because I've been through that situation and I didn't, I pray to God, but what was a challenge for you that you just, I don't know. I want to know what you did. I'm just keeping it
Well,
real. I want to know because I know there's other people that's in our situations and they want to know because there is times that people just feel lost and we
right.
need to know, okay, I'm not alone. You know how they always say that your story is not, sometimes it's not better than somebody else, but they've
Right.
been through it, they got through it. Well, I want to
Right.
know what's your story. What's the
Well,
challenge that you remember that you just was like, mm,
I know, right? Well,
I
the challenge for
know.
me was you know, growing up with my mom, and my
Mhm,
mom, she was got caught up in the crack era.
mhm,
So, living down in Georgia and Atlanta, sometimes we would be homeless. And by her being a drug addict, we would have to do
mhm,
certain things like steal just to survive, to make money. Sometimes we live
yeah,
in homeless shelters and all of that. So, when she got taken away and went to prison, my grandmother stepped in. So, from that moment in my life, I had already seen the bottom of the bottom. Like, the poorest of the poorest. You have nowhere to live. You live in the
mhm,
shelters with random strangers. Your mom's on drugs. You're seeing crack everywhere. You're seeing shootouts. You're seeing dead bodies. When you already experience
wow,
all of that and you grow up from that,
mhm,
it's almost you become undefeated. Like, you can't be defeated by life because you've already seen it. A lot of people that I find that sinks to those lows, they haven't grew up from that. So their low, they might can't handle it. But if you was
mhm,
born into it, just
yeah,
like Bane said in Batman, you adapted to the darkness. I was born in it. See, I was born in it,
mhm,
so it doesn't matter what is thrown at me. It can't get any worse than that. So everything I look at is like, oh, this is cool. If I have to live in my car, oh, this is nothing. Because if you haven't lived somewhere and you lived on the street before, living in a car is a luxury. So if you haven't had money, if you have $5, that's still better than not having no money. So when
mhm,
you already touch the bottom, it's always just up. That's how I always see it. Well, it can always be worse. And what's the worst? Oh, well, you've been to the worst. Oh, this is all right. But you have to remind yourself that. And when I hit hard points in my life, in my career and stuff, I remind myself of that. You know.
okay,
Um, yeah, so like me and my friends, we joke a lot, and we always find life experiences to remind us to keep pushing forward. I
mhm,
started off working at McDonald's, and there was
okay,
this old man. I don't want to say his name, but he had to be in his 40s at the time, and he worked on the grill, and he was a drunk. And I
mhm,
would look at my homies, and we would be like, "Yo, bro, let us not revisit here as a career when we get his age." So every time that I would go to like auditions or it gets close and I don't book a job, I remember I said, man, we told ourselves we was not going to end up at McDonald's at 40. You know what I mean? So we would use that beginning step to keep
yeah.
pushing us, to keep us from going back to that. So yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? You say that because as a family member, and I have to take it that way because I didn't know you went through any of that. But that's like everybody has their own life. You know what I
Right.
mean? They're running, and I think around that time, and I mean, I'm not that old than you, but still, I didn't know. You
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? And it's like, wow, things you don't know, and you just find out about your family member, and you're like, wow, that happened. But then we all went through our own stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we all already had our family issues, and it's kind of like, wow, how do you worry about somebody else's family issues when you deal with your own family issues? And it's kind
Right.
of similar to issues like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
we're
Right.
still
Right.
standing. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
We're still standing here. We're still
Right.
trying to be like, okay, let's do something with our life. We couldn't control what happened in the past, but
Right.
we could control what
Right.
we do in our future, which is
Right.
really interesting. And I commend you for that because, like you said, living in your car Well, wait a minute. First of all, you made that statement. Have you ever lived in your car?
Yeah,
Oh, what? Wait a
I actually
minute.
chose. Yeah, one. I think it was 2000. I want to say 2016. No, 2017. I had just got back from. I usually do a L.A., New York, Boston run for my career, and I had just got back to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to pay the amount of money for a room because the prices went up. I lost my roommate. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he rented out to somebody. Oh no, they decided to keep the whole place. They didn't want to rent out the room anymore. So I was stuck with a situation to pay for an expensive hotel or live in a car.
Mm-hmm.
I chose to live in a car. I had a gym membership. I was fine with it. Why? Because I remember there was a point in time in my life where I was homeless and lived in shelters. So living in a car to me, it was a
Wow.
nice sized car. I wasn't living in like a little Prius now. I made sure I
Mm-hmm.
got a decent sized car. I could let the seat back and just bow
Yeah.
and go to sleep. But it was nothing for me to save the money to live in my car while I was in LA and just keep pursuing my career. I take a showers at a friend house or at the gym, go to my auditions. I had a portable
Wow.
steamer. I'll steam my clothes out, and boom. And I had money. See, I chose it, and I had the money to stay somewhere. But I
Yeah.
chose to save the money for career purposes. Different
Hmm.
concept. When you've been somewhere, you can make those kind of decisions and be confident in it.
You know what? I agree with you on that because there's so many times, and I travel a lot. There's so many times I drove, and I was like, "Oh no, we're gonna sit in this car. We are not going to buy it. We're not getting
That's
into no
it.
hotel right now. We got the seat pulled out. We got like pillows and blankets, and I'm like,
Right.
no. I mean,
Right.
because it's not like we can, but it's like you just kind of like, okay, this is you. It's almost like camping, you gotta look
Right.
at it that way, you know,
Exactly.
and
Camping. I was a Boy Scout,
and
so I know.
exactly. And with that note, we are gonna take a brief commercial. We will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on the Bold and Brave TV network with Veal. Do not go nowhere, people. This is so interesting. More to come.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We are still with Veal, the actor, the model, the author, the everything. And we were talking about, just not sweating the small stuff. And I say that because, when you're in a situation and you feel yourself in a crunch, and you could choose to, suffer, or you could choose to just accept the condition and move forward. And that was what Ben was explaining to me. But before we went on a commercial, Ben, I do want to know, what about self-care? What do you do for self-care? Because people, that's one thing about when you get in challenges and you're going through something, you forget yourself. You forget taking care
Right.
of yourself. So what do you do mentally and physically with self-care? Because we need to hear that.
Well, I have this philosophy, and that philosophy is if I'm poor or if I'm struggling, I'm gonna make sure that I look good doing it. That's just it. Like no matter what, I have to look. If I don't have any money, I still gotta look good. If I'm struggling,
Okay.
if I'm stressed out, I still gotta look good because I don't want people to see the struggle. That's my struggle. Me showing
Mhm.
you my struggle can influence you to acknowledge your struggle. But if I can still look good and smile and laugh through my struggle and not, you know, have my struggle rub off on you, then that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like you can complain, but complain to yourself. Now find a solution and move forward. But just sitting around complaining, the complaining leads to stress. The stress comes on your face. People can see it and they wonder, what's wrong with you? And then that energy matches, their energy. Next thing you know, they might be feeling bad about themselves and start complaining. You ever notice that? Like sometimes,
Yeah.
like energy matches energy.
Hmm.
That's my
I
thing.
do
I'm like,
too.
all right, my problem's my problem. And it's not your problem. So when you see me, I'm going to smile. I'm going to encourage. And then when I go home, I'm going to deal with my issues. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
when
You,
I'm
you
hitting
said
lows, you ain't going to see it.
okay. Well, you said something right there. Even though, and I love your philosophy, but here's the kicker: no one sees your struggle because the show is on. Because we're not
Right.
showing we're stressed out. But what
Right.
happens when you go home? Because I want to know. That's the part of self care I want to know. Because after you stop smiling, you
Hmm.
hit that door, it comes and it's off.
Right.
What do you do when it's off? Cameras, lights out, door
Right.
shut. Just you and you. What are you doing?
Well, when I go home, when I'm struggling, first thing I do is identify what is the problem. Why am I feeling these way? You have to ask yourself these questions. Because if you ask yourself the questions enough, the answers are going to start flowing. Now, when you get
Okay.
the answers, whether you like them or you don't, then you have to process the solution. Well, I don't like this and this. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? And this is the
Okay.
conversation I have with myself. Okay, so you don't like your living conditions. Okay, so what are we going to do about that?
Okay.
Then you go through the scenarios. All right, I didn't book this job today. Okay, you're not going to book a lot of jobs. All right, is it going to matter in the next 10, 15 minutes? No. Why? Because you can't do anything to change about it. But what you can do is figure out, well, let's try something different. Let's add a different element to my audition tape. Or, you know what? I need to get in the gym more. Maybe go punch the bag. Let some of that steam off. Let some of that anger
Okay.
out.
Punching
Or,
bag. Okay.
yeah, there's several things like
Meditation, right? Isn't that like used as meditation too?
you can do meditation. You can do
Okay.
meditation. It's all about breathing and stuff. My thing is when I went to Hollywood, I was pretty much like a robot. Even my family would say that, like, Benz, you're such a robot. I was so tunnel vision on what I wanted to do. What
Yeah.
happened was I developed emotional blocks from when I was a child, because when you go through a lot of trauma, you kind of,
Uh-huh.
as a man, you kind of taught to just shut that down and keep moving like a robot, keep
Yeah.
pushing, right? Well, that's a problem when you're trying to do acting, because if you can't
Hmm.
access that emotion, or if you never experienced something, it's not going to come across as real. So what I end up doing is started getting in relationships, like allowing myself to feel the warmth and love and the pain of relationships, whether they were short term or long term. So when I have a relationship scene on the script, I can jump right to how I was feeling back then and use that to push me forward in my audition.
Oh, okay. So you use it as a flow technique. You were releasing that way as well. So you weren't holding in because
Right.
repression is something I'm trying to get to here. Because when you say that, you put the show on and boom, you deal with it later. That becomes repression. You're suppressing your issues, but you're not doing that. It's only for the
No,
moment. You
you're not.
go
I don't
and do something.
suppress them because
So, hmm.
what happens when you're going through it, right, and you going and
Yep.
you're putting on the show, right?
Hmm.
What I've learned to do is I've learned to laugh at everything,
Okay.
even my own struggles. I learned to not be so serious. So anytime, like even when I was young, like I experienced things, right? And I went through the crying phase as a
Yeah.
child. I went through, oh, my life sucks. There's so much better lives on TV. Why my life can't be like that? They got both parents. I have no parents. This, right? So you go through
Mhm.
that phase, and then you're like, you grow out of it. So then I learned to just laugh at everything. Like, this happened to me. I laugh. I didn't book the job. And I just laugh about it. Like, dang, you ain't
Yeah,
just gonna, like,
definitely.
you start talking to the universe or
Mhm.
God, whoever, you just not gonna let me win. Okay, I'll show you. You know what I mean? So to
Okay.
me, it's not so much a show. It's more like you find out everything is so temporary. Your emotions are
There
all
you go.
temporary.
You know what? You said a key thing. You trained your mind to realize it's a temporary situation. Like the next day, it's not like you're going to stay in it. There is going to be release. And that is what I need people to understand. You feel like you're going through it today, but tomorrow is another day. It's
Right,
not, it could be better. I mean, don't get me wrong. There might be some times it seems like 2 days is still going through it, but
right.
it's going to get better. It's not going to stay this way. And that's a
It's not.
temporary fix. And people, when they commit suicide, it's
Right.
like, you didn't give the next day a chance. It could have got
Not even
better.
the next day. You didn't give a good meal and a nap a chance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Sometimes.
you know what? You're right. But see, some people are at that moment is feeling like that's all. I don't
Right,
have anything else. That's all I need to do, and it'll be just over.
right,
And
right.
and and that's the problem because I'm trying to defeat the mental illness. I'm trying to defeat. Now I know it's a challenge, and the
Oh
reason
yeah, I
why
mean
is
it's a challenge. Like
so
I've
important.
experienced that. My
Mhm.
one of my brothers committed suicide, and he actually died in my arms. And
Oh
one of the
wow.
last voicemails he left me was, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Ain't got nothing to do with mom. It's got something to do with me. And when
You
I
know
got
what?
the
I need
voicemail, I
you
was
to
like,
pause. I need to hear that. I need you to pause. We got to take a break because I want to hear
okay,
that. Okay, we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network with Ben Veal, the actor, the model, the everything.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome back, friends. Before we left, we were still talking to Ben Veal, the actor, the model, the author, the everything. When I said it, because he does everything. And we were getting into a challenge, something that he went through in his life. And we was touching on suicide and something I didn't even know And I want him to finish that thought. Ben, can you please finish that thought of what we was talking about with your
Well,
brother?
we was
And I
talking
think
about,
your brother. Yeah.
yeah, we was talking about suicide, and one of my older brothers, he committed suicide, and one of the last voicemails he left me was, bro, this ain't got nothing to do with you. This ain't got nothing to do with mom. It's got something to do with me. And he was crying, and I was trying to call him, but my phone was acting weird. I had like this cheap Nokia phone, and I couldn't. My passcode wasn't working, so I got in the car and rushed over there. I called my uncle and told him like, "Yo, bro, my bro Harold don't sound right, or whatever. Boom, let's go over there." So when I went over there, he wouldn't come to the door, but I could hear him deep breathing on the door. So I just kicked the door in, because I
Yeah.
just didn't feel right. And then I found him slumped over the couch, going on the couch. My uncle's freaking out. He's still breathing. I grabbed him, called 911, and ran down the steps. Look at the name of the place, called him in, and then when the paramedics got to the top of the step, he took his last breath in my arm. So,
Oh my
you
goodness.
know, that suicide thing, like I didn't quite understand it. We knew that he had like issues, temper problems, because we didn't really, I didn't grow up with him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he was in New Jersey at another type of school. We didn't know a lot about him. So
Mhm.
processing that was a little interesting for me. I actually just went to school the next day, and it took a
Yeah.
lot for me to actually process. I haven't even grieved yet. And this has been since 2002.
Wow.
I chose to grieve later about that whole situation because I have to keep moving in life, and I want to get to a point in my life where I'm comfortable, where I can sit down and actually fully grieve. But I didn't want to grieve while I'm pursuing what I'm trying to pursue in life.
Yeah. Was there any times that you kind of knew what he was going through, or just thought like maybe this was it? You know.
Mm-mm.
You
No,
know.
but we found out a lot after he passed. He got
After.
a medical jacket. They
Wow.
sent all his paperwork, and we found out that he was medicated in the school, and through that medication he developed a split personality.
Wow.
Some another individual, but when he came to Charlotte, he wasn't taking the meds anymore. You know what I mean? I guess he was trying to get off the meds, but we didn't know a lot of this stuff until we got his medical jacket after he passed. That he had another personality, and this other individual's other voice or whatever would activate stuff. So
Oh
I was
wow.
like, wow, it's a lot. So,
And that's sad, very sad, because no one really knows what somebody's going through. That's
no,
the
I mean,
thing.
even at school, people they heard about it and they was like, why are you in school? And I was like I gotta have good grades, bro. I'm not a school skipper. Like I'm gonna go to class and stuff. I said I
Yeah.
just process death and stuff a little differently than most people. So I
You
was just
know?
mostly angry,
Yeah.
at that time. Like I was just angry because I see throughout my whole life I didn't have an older brother. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have that protector. And so when he came around when I was 15, turning 16, and I only had him till I was turning 18. You feel me? So I didn't even have him that long. So I was just angry because he didn't even get to see me walk across the stage to graduate high school.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was like, I finally got this, and it's not even long lasting. It's like 3 years, and you're gone. So you
Wow.
know what
And
I mean? So
yeah, I mean, it's sad. There's really no way to process something like that. There's no real good
right,
way. I mean, to be honest with you, if you went to school the next day, you mentally wasn't even, aware of it. You're just like
right,
hit with it, and the shock is still there, but, you
right,
know, the acceptance is not there. And that's
right.
what
It's just
happens to
like
people.
wow.
Like, you're
You
still
go through.
wow.
Right, it's like a while, and then you go through the things. Was it a suicide? It could have been a homicide. No, you're processing a lot, and I just chose to not really grieve about it, because I mean I'm just like, dang, that's crazy, and you keep it moving, and people looking at me like I'm weird, and I'm like, no, man, this is what I got to do for now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just bottle it up, boop, back of my head. I'll get to it when I get to it.
And and you say that, and I'm glad you're sharing it with us now, because somebody needs to hear this. I mean, you're letting it out now,
Yeah,
and it's important, because it's not something you want to hold in. And you don't want to blame yourself. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
you're a
right.
kid yourself. I mean, what can you do, in that situation? No one really
Yeah, I mean,
knows.
there's nothing you can do, and if what I do respect is he did leave us, letting us know that it had nothing to do with us, so we wouldn't be blaming ourselves. Well, maybe I didn't give him enough hugs, or maybe
Yeah,
mom didn't. You know what I mean?
I know.
He literally said out his mouth, it had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with mom, it had something to do with him. I just, I get, like I said, I'm gonna deal with it whenever I see him because
Yeah.
he left two children behind. So I'm like, bro, you
Oh,
can't do these things when you have
yeah.
children. If you're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do it, don't have children out here. Like,
Wow.
because yeah, we have to
Yeah,
deal with
that's
that. The
hard.
family has to deal with that.
That's hard. Because it's hard. It's hard. Wow. Well, those children, and I don't want to imagine a loss like that, especially it's not something that was just natural. It was
Right,
something unnatural to me. And so I feel for you and your mom on that, but you do have the children, and that you got to look at a positive too as negative, but positive that she still got her son in the children,
right, right.
and that's how I would look at it. Well, thanks you for sharing that. Ben, I do want to ask you, you're in the entertainment industry. What
Mhm.
challenges that you went through? I mean, because, I went through something and, it stopped me from doing the entertainment industry for many, many years, and I didn't care for it, but I got back in for my own reasons. What was something that you, hey, I got to keep it real. What was something that you saw that was just like, I don't know, but I'll try it, but I don't agree, but here's my take on it. What was some challenges that you had to deal with?
Uh, I
Oh,
didn't,
wait, before, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm going to let you ponder on that.
right.
Before you do that, we're going to take a brief break, and we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Thank you. We'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Excuse me one second. Oh, I was doing so good. We're back. I was doing so good. I have a cold. and and it just got me at the end. goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. That's human for you, right? Mm-mm-mm. Okay, we're back. Oh my goodness. It's like I'm recovering from a cold. I was doing so good. Now, before we left, let me get that out. Oh, you see me, Ben? I'm here choking. Save me. Okay. Oh gosh. So here we go. When we left, I want to know the challenges within the entertainment industry. And I know there are some, because like I said,
Right.
I had a challenge in my life. And it led me to stop with the entertainment industry because I didn't want to be changed. I didn't
Right.
want it to change me.
Right.
So tell me, what was it? Is it something that was really challenging for you? You bend the rules, you did something that was like, hey, it
No, I
took you out
mean,
of character a little bit.
no, I mean the challenge is initially is always trying to get the right agent, trying to get a proper agent,
Mm-hmm.
um, learning the ropes. Like when I first got to California, there was a lot of things I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
outside of what needs to be on your resume. You
Okay.
know, it seems like people have relationships there, right? So if you go, let's say you go and study with some random individual that teaches you how to act on camera or commercial technique or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you put on your resume, but you put on your headshot and your resume, you put that teacher on there and you give it to the
Mm-hmm.
casting director. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
casting director may not trust that training. You know what I mean? So, my thing was to find out, well, what companies do they trust? And it was like, oh, well, you
Yeah.
want this company, and that company on your resume. So when they push you, when they marketing you to these casting directors, they see that as your training, they trust them. Boom. So next thing you know, you in the room. So I had to overcome that at first because I didn't know that certain companies have relationships or casting directors actually trust these people because they know they're going to train them properly.
Okay.
So once I did that, I got into better rooms. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And then
Okay.
also you learn that it's a lot of networking too. And I'm not a person that drinks really. I don't do any drugs and stuff, but I know a lot of
Okay.
people in that world do. So I came up with a philosophy. Well, I don't do drugs, occasionally drink, so I'll do a 2 drink minimum just to be a part of the party. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because one thing, yeah, people under the influence don't like to be around sober people, especially in their
Oh.
entourage and stuff. You got to be part of the atmosphere, so you got to choose to play the game. Now you can limit yourself and control how you play the game, or if you go all in. And I've witnessed people who go all in. Next thing you know, they're homeless, looking like fiends on the street in LA. So it was one of those situations like, all right, you got to know your limits, stick by it, and play the game a little bit. Don't go all in, but understand this is the game that you're in. So
That's interesting you say that because some people are pressured in a way. And I guess you bend the rules for yourself and said, hey,
right,
I have a minimum. I can do the drink, but I'm not doing this. There's certain things
right.
you allowed yourself just to be socializing, I will say,
You got to be
right?
socialized, and people trust that. You know what I mean? When you got people who's into that world, if you ain't got a little dirt on you, they ain't gonna trust you. And that little dirt with me is 2 drink maximum. Boop. Babysit
Minimum.
it. Hey, laughing, ha ha, yeah, and you keep it moving. And you end the night. But
Yeah.
like you have to play the game. If you don't play the game, you won't even get in it. When
Hmm.
you're dealing with that. You know. But other than that, you have challenges. For men, for me, do you want to play a gay role? Like I seen a lot of gay roles come about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you get to the point where you have to be like, well, dang, what kind of gay I'm gonna be? Do I gotta kiss the person? Check. No. Okay, I can do that. Is there any sex scenes? Check. Like so, you have to figure it out. Like I find myself like I've turned down jobs because
Yeah.
they want you to be in the same room as a tranny but naked, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Or they wanted me to do crazy stuff like run down the alley butt naked holding a bike, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
Because so you have certain things that you can
What they
take,
gonna do?
you can do, you know what I mean? Because I
Hmm.
within myself, I said that I'm not just representing me. I'm representing those under me, those of my ethnicity that's going to see me, and I want them to see the best light of me. I don't want them to get
Indeed.
stuck on, oh, you was doing this crazy explicit sex scene with this and this and that. But if that's not me, who I am, in personally, I don't want that to be me on the camera as well. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
I
So
hear you. Let me ask you, and that's good. You seem to have been, in charge. Is there any times that you had any type of role models during your upbringing or anything that you remember? I mean, later on in the time, anybody you can mention or anything that you just stuck by.
yeah, when I was growing up, it's my dad. When I used to have conversations with him, Bruce Lee, Malcolm X, and Tupac.
All right.
Those were like, and Muhammad Ali.
You
Those were
know what?
like,
Mhm.
those are my
That's
guys. And, as I became an adult, it was Dr. Sabi. You know what I mean? Because
mhm.
I'm vegan. I've been a vegan since 2014, and I was a student of him. I went to go see him in New York. I studied all his methods. I got my own herbal. You know what I mean? So those people right there.
You mentioned some really interesting people because they all had a mission. You know what I mean? And they did. I mean, Bruce Lee, and I mean, I love the karate, and and you got. I mean, I'm just saying, he had a mission, true, and and then Muhammad Ali. I mean, he wasn't just a fighter; he was almost
Right,
an activist as well.
right.
Yes. So very, very, very wonderful. And you mentioned your dad. Yeah, he's a trooper too. He has his own style, but
Mhm.
he's his own philosophy. So I gotta agree with that one on that. He says a lot of good things. So with that being said, Ben, I want to know what you're doing. What are you doing now? I mean, you're acting, you're modeling, you still do. You have an author of a book. I mean, oh, you know what? We're gonna have to take a break, and when we get back, you're gonna tell people where can we find you and what you're doing. All right, thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We will be right back with Ben Veal, the actor, the model, the author, the everything.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome back, people. We are still with Ben Veal. We are actually going to ask Ben, how can we find you? I mean, we're looking, you're acting, you have an author, you're author of a book. I mean, tell me a little bit about that and how can we find you?
Well, you can visit my website is benzville.us. That's where
Okay.
you can see most of my personal stuff, whether it's my modeling and acting and my authorship. I've authored 2 books, and I have
Okay.
3 more in production. And but besides that, I also do photography, and I'm a
Okay.
talent manager. Right. So
Mm,
you can visit that. I have my own production. It's called mactaproductions.us. You can visit there. You'll
okay.
see my photography and videography.
Yes.
And yeah. And I, like I said, I'm a personal manager for talent, and they booking commercials like my nephew's on TJ Maxx everywhere in stores. And that's qtalentmanagement.us.
Oh,
I just do a
okay.
lot,
And
a lot of little, a lot of everything.
oh, that's good. I told you you were everything.
Yeah.
And so the book, you have a book that's already out there. What's the name of the
Yep.
book?
The first book I wrote is called The Actor's Guide, and it's the guide for aspiring models and actors who want to get in the industry. And the book teaches models and actors how to get started and how to do it full time. Because I've been doing it full time since the beginning of my career, which is 2010, 2011. So
Wow.
that's all I've done, and I'm giving people the secrets on how to do it full time.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, I've
Well,
helped a
that,
lot of people. They've written me and said, "Oh my God, this book has been a godsend." I'm like, "Cool, bro. Just keep applying it and spread the message."
oh, well, that is wonder. And it's called Master what?
The Mactor's Guide, because Mactor is
Master,
model and actor. That's my brand. So
the
Mactor, when you put it
Master
together, it's a
Guide.
Mactor.
Oh, okay. Now that's really good that you put a bunch of stories in there to tell you how to do certain things. And
Yeah,
okay, that's awesome. We need that. And you said you got a couple other books that's in production.
yeah. I have a genealogy book. It's a
Oh,
genealogy book
wow.
that goes into yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it's dedicated to the people that call themselves African American. I have tons of research that ties the people that call themselves African American to the American Indians. So ample amount of research, a lot of photography, a lot of resources, and it's called The Miseducation of the African American. So
Oh.
yeah, very thick book, very source oriented. I put a lot of effort into it, years and years and years of research, and utilizing my own family.
Okay,
So
all right.
yeah,
That's wonderful. It was such a pleasure to have you on the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. I'm so glad that you are my guest. And I just want to let people know, please, even if everything that he said, you could also Google him because I Googled him and I found a bunch of stuff too. So do your research, Google Benz Veal. He does a lot of things. And like I said, he is a wonderful actor. And Three Corners of Deception, he did a wonderful job as being the attorney. I wish I had gotten to that, but you got to see the movie. That's all I got to say. And hopefully this year be publicly. And you'll get to see how talented he is in Three Corners of Deception as the attorney Everett. It was a wonderful time to work with him, and he did a great job. With that being said, you can find Dr. Meleeka Clary .com, or you can Google me, or you can check out Three Corners Deception. Or I'm on Facebook or the IMDb or Twitter, and you can find me everywhere. Just Google me. Well, thank you for your support. I appreciate you. If nobody said I love you today, I will say I love you, and have a wonderful week. And thank you for tuning in to Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network.
You've been watching the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Tune in next week as Dr. Meleeka will help you shift towards a better life. But this show doesn't stop there. She'll provide helpful tips regarding surviving the entertainment industry and the judicial system with practical information. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here on the Bold Brave TV network.